backup is there, but Fresskowy's just too damn low. Caps has the cooldowns, taking his time, waiting for the flash back out to safety. Stretching strikes, is it enough? Caps on the hunt, Fresskowy, first blood for the side of G2. Nice knockback there, hoping to catch Myrwn out, but Myrwn has not hit him under tower. Broken Blade just gonna go for the all-in. Senna now coming down for a little bit of extra shielding. Broken Blade determined to find the solo kill, and he will get it. Back to the waiting arms of the rest of the team, just barely gonna get the shutdown. Hostile takeover coming through, but G2, too much damage. Hansama untouched.
Well, G2 gave Mad Lions Koi a taste of their own medicine and added some extra salt, I'm gonna say, because what a convincing win out of G2 in that second game where they remained on the blue side. If I was Mad, I'd be a little bit shell-shocked, Finn.
Yeah, I love when Broken Blade said it's Cassandra time and there's Cassandra all over Mad Lions. That was what a performance by him. Like, how many solo kills did he get, man? It just kept getting up.
Kept racking up, exactly. Yeah. Also love, here's the G2 in the opening ceremony behind us. Hansama T-posing all over them also in this game. I said before, Supa 5-0 in Winter on Senna, Guldborg, but it was the Varus' turn.
Yeah, I think it was so important for G2 that they actually managed to stabilize that bot lane. The fact that they could lane past 3 waves is usually a good indicator that you're smooth sailing going into it. This time around, though, absolutely able to take over the laning phase from the get-go and even find some kills. And I love this little interaction from Mikyx. He kites it out with the bailout, then dying to Supa after, and just as Hansama picks up the kill on Alvaro, well, the bailout comes through and he's allowed to then get the kill further on Supa.
I mean, I said this in the last draft already, but now I've seen it 2 games in a row. It's a Senna-Varus matchup, and the Varus always comes up on top so heavily in the early game. I really want these teams to like increase the Varus priority in this series, because I feel like whoever gets the Varus gets to dictate the early game. Whoever dictates the early game dictates the mid game, and there is no late game. These games end so fast when one team gets a lead.
Yeah, so far it's been really win lane, win game kind of philosophy coming out of it. And I think even more so when you realize how much of the AD carry pool is already getting pinched in this draft phase. The Kallista's gone, the Draven's gone, and suddenly if you're not willing to play the Ezreal or the Aphelios, well, then the priority come on Senna and the Varus instead, and they are just 2 of the strongest in the pool.
Yeah, I wonder if that adaptation is going to be made now or what we're going to see. Of course, you said in the beginning already, Finn, much happier with from G2 in terms of how they can play to their strength with this draft. We saw it in the Cassante, we also saw it in LeBlanc and the Varus, you know, kind of a dream scenario almost.
In a way, I think G2 almost conceded to the craziness of Mad Lions, because they banned the TF. The TF is like what's G2 mid-work and Mad Lions mid-work, but they were like, okay, if we take the TF out of the game and just play a more standard kind of style, we're gonna be the better team. And that's kind of what they showed this game, I think. There was no weird picks, there was just standard drafting, standard play, and G2 just outperformed them in every lane.
But I also think it's where it started getting incorporated, right? The Senna before the Varus, the Nautilus before the Renata, the Azir before the LeBlanc. It's G2 who sets themselves up for comfort in this situation, but it's also MDK allowing them this setup by saying, this is what we're picking, we're feeling confident in it. But with such a confidence, always comes the other end of that catch, and that is giving G2 exactly what they want into it.
Yes, and also playing exactly how they want to play, you know, getting that early advantage. And we had a stat at the beginning of the day being that G2, they often get ahead in the early game. Mad Lions Koi have been behind a lot in this finals weekend. Most of the time they've come out on top, but I think now you're running into a different beast. This is now G2 you have to fight against from behind, Finn, and that's just a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, you need to draft for your strongest lane matchups, I think, against G2. You can't afford to play these matchups where you're just like losing the early game, because G2 will get a lead, like 2k golded at 14 and just run away with the game. I want to see them really like, because if they pick the Varus, they actually can't pick the Cassante tops as safety, because usually the Varus is they can't pick the Cassante. Because as you see here, like Broken Blade is just tearing the game up on his Cassante. Here was the Caps and the LeBlanc, the good matchup. It's just so hard for Mad Lions to keep up.
And I think normally we'd have like, okay, let's have a look at the mid game. Let's see how they came back. Let's see the kind of intricacies that happened. That just wasn't the case in this game. That's why we're seeing so much of the individuality right now, because everyone was winning on every single front of G2, and they were just able to win lane, win game in this kind of style.
Let me ask you, when we look at Mad Lions Koi and what has kind of been X factors for them, I think more often than not, it's been Myrwn, both in the draft as in the lane performance and not always necessarily, but the impact later on the flanks in the team fights as well. Is it as simple for this series as that for G2 to neuter him in the top lane, and then you will get the freedom to do what you would actually like?
I think this game Caps was a huge issue for Mad Lions.
Yeah.
I think Caps since minute 2 pretty much had full control of mid. with the LeBlanc into the Azir matchup.
Yeah.
Maybe if the LeBlanc is just such an early threat, maybe they need to take that out, because I think Myrwn was doing really good this game. I think he just overstepped one time, and that's how he got punished. He was actually really ahead in lane against Broken Blade. He was playing the matchup very, very well, but then against Cassandra, you make one misstep. You get sent to Narnia with a little ult, and then,
Yeah, I think it really is the fact that they were never allowed to play towards the strength of MDK, which once again is Alvaro and Elyoya. When they sync up together, they are ahead and they find picks in the enemy jungle, or they find picks before skirmish starts around Dragon. But in this scenario, you were just never allowed that luxury, and therefore you just never got to play the game.
Yes, but I would not be very smart if I just said they're going to get run over now by G2, because that's not what I've seen from Mad Lions Koi if they've been on the back foot. They're electing to go to the blue side, Finn.
Well, I will assume they're gonna see this draft through to the end of the series. They're gonna ban the Kalista Draven, 1-2. And then their third ban is kind of a flex ban, and then they can kind of see how they want to adapt depending on what G2 does.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're definitely looking at here in terms of, is it Elyoya now that's going to be picking up a brand for himself because Yike hasn't shown too much priority on it? Is it a Maokai instead, which had a lot of priority in this draft and then has a lot of priority for G2? I think there's a lot of different options that MDK can approach this from blue side.
There are a lot of questions. We'll see where Mad Lions Koi decides to go and who moves on to match point in this game.
That's a damn good question. I will say one thing. We have unanimously decided on the caster desk. I know there's some uncertainty on the desk as to what is important. Varus is important.
He's going to be banned.
He's going to be.
He should be banned.
I'm really confident G2 is going to slam Varus
At the very
ban.
least, they should not pick Senna into the Varus. Because regardless of whose nameplate has Varus attached to it, the lanes seem pretty unwinnable. Myrwn,
I like
of course.
that, Myrwn.
Is he? Oh, okay.
User
that's not a
of all
mouse.
chat.
He's not a mouse. I thought he was mousing left-handed. I was like, how did I not know that lore?
All right, we're getting ready for Game 3. We're guaranteed 2 more games. Let's see what the Mad Lions have prepared for us in Game 3. They'll be shifting over to the blue side. Prior to yesterday, all of their games in playoffs were on the blue side. They'd found a lot of success on blue, but then they started winning on red. They did that today. Let's see. Kalista Maokai is something that Mad Lions typically like to get rid of. They don't put a huge amount of value on the Maokai, but G2 also, when they're on the red side, have a tendency to ban it themselves. So, where will the Varus fall, and what's going to happen to Maokai? Varus going to be taken off the boards. Kalista, Cassante also removed as well.
With the Vi ban, though, it does mean that the Maokai can be banned by Mad Lions Koi if they want to, because that was what they changed last game to get rid of, but not going to be the case. Instead, the Twisted Fate going to be taken away. So
versus Maokai.
Yeah, I think... I don't know. I don't know where the...
Okay,
so Varus. It should
Surely it's Varus.
You may have Varus. They take Senna.
Whoa.
I feel like we've been watching different series. I don't want to jump to any conclusions.
It's all right, fine. You know, like, we'll give the benefit of the doubt to the pros. You know, maybe it was just, we misclipped the play. Maybe it was the Renata that was the problem, and instead they'll find a way to navigate that. But I don't see why G2 can't just lock in Varus.
Oh, that seems pretty good. Maybe not like the most signature G2 special, but ultimately great scaling. Obviously, pretty lane dominant pick in the Varus as well. So something that Mad Lions Koi are going to have to dissect and deal with.
It's also something that when Caps has this Azir, he tends to play a huge amount of side lane. They're like willing to give up a lot so then he can get the farm to get to 3-4 items and then carry the game himself. So I'm curious if maybe Mad Lions Koi are kind of going, hey, maybe we can look towards something that can play hyper-aggressive, hyper-dive and see if we can play to catch G2 when they go for this. But it's going to be kind of tough, to be honest, because already with the Senna, it's not like you have that a ton of opportunity to play hyper-aggressive on these early stages.
In Game 2, Renata was taken away. And also the Tahm Kench potentially mitigating some of the strength of this Senna. I wonder if that Tahm Kench will now be locked in, or if instead they want to prioritize the Nautilus. Instead, they want to try and get that answer for Fresskowy, something that we often see from him whenever the enemy mid laner is locked. He wants to respond in kind. The beauty of this Rell is it can be flexed into both jungle and support, so Mad Lions want to keep that flexibility alive. G2, how will they round out their draft? They could consider a Renata right now if they want to. Maybe they want a little bit more engage in the form of the Nautilus. Maybe they want to lock in their jungler.
Nautilus? So I actually thought they would take the Renata, ban away Nautilus, and like, you've already got the Maokai that's gone, and maybe you're kind of pushing into some weird territory where you're kind of like, hey, maybe we go like double range bot lane for Supa and Alvaro on that bot side. But I think the clear thing that we've seen with Mad Lions Koi drafts is that Alvaro needs to be that engage tool. So in a lot of situations, it feels like maybe this is kind of going, okay, we take away the Braum. Maybe you want to try and take away something like a Leona or something, but Leona doesn't do a huge amount with the gold. So I am curious if it's just going to be that TK ban that we we're kind of already alluding to.
It's interesting because I feel like G2 have put Mad Lions Coin in a position where they're saying, like, yeah, you can bring the Rell bottom, but it's just not going to be ideal for you. And we're going to ban out the other options and essentially maybe force the Rell into support position, or at least certainly limit the power of the flex pick. The Ivern taken away. Again, I feel like this is a pretty universal power pick with as popular as Varus is in the meta. It's just so good against poke. It's so good with poke. Very frustrating champion to play against. So, like that ban, G2 Esports, do they just ban Renata now here too with a Tahm Kench instead?
All right, they're showing that same respect that they did in game 2. The Ivern going to be taken away from Mad Lions. Koi. Maybe the Viego as well. I'm trying to think. Xin Zhao. It depends on, like, Sejuani could be an engaged jungler that they're thinking about. Maybe they want to remove that one. Because, like, when you look at G2, they've got the Nautilus for the engage, and so your question is, like, where does that secondary form of engage come from? Is it maybe you just look to get rid of the Zac yourself, so it can't potentially go into the top lane?
So Brand is the call
I think
out
also
here.
does make sense. We've seen the power of Brand, and I think Brand's just great into engage in general, just because, oh, you want to come into my pyroclasm? Sure, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Walk into me. I will push R and kill your entire team. Fun. I think Xin is an interesting pick here because on the one hand, you get so much value out of the ulti, but on the other hand, really hard to get on top of Taliyah.
Okay.
Someone was really excited in the crowd about Viego.
Hey, Yike's Viego. I mean, back in the day when Yike first joined the league, we were like, this is his one trick. We weren't sure about other stuff he played, but we knew he could play Viego.
I mean, it was kind of this and Kha'Zix were the two picks that he had, but I think coming into this, this is perfect because I think you've already got pushing bot side, less of a pushing lane mid, but at least you can try and wiggle off a bot side into invades,
man.
but Elyoya going to take the Bel'Veth into Yike as an answer.
So now the real play from G2 is flex the Varus top and then pick a different AD carry. You think you can do it, Myrwn? I can do it
Viego
too.
mid.
Not that I expect that to happen. Hang on a minute.
Wait a
don't
second.
tease us.
Wait a second.
No, you don't talk about the hovers. We
Yeah,
know
but
that. You
I
never
can
talk
think
about
about
the
them,
hovers.
and I'm thinking, wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, Kennen into the Rumble would be a pretty conventional option. Obviously, you can try to match some of that team fighting power. Range matchup also going to feel pretty good. Not a champion I've seen a lot. This is normally
I feel like we've seen it once or twice this split.
Basically every time Odoamne is about to get kicked out of the league, he starts playing Kennen, and that's usually where those 1 or 2 picks come from.
But look at this comp from Mad Lions Koi. We have seen one Broken Blade Kennen game so far this winter split. But when I kind of look at the comp in its entirety, G2 Esports, a lot of long range. They do have decent engage. I think that the Azir are going to be used to match on any potential side lane threat that the Taliyah is going to be posing, the roam threat. I think Mad Lions Koi are investing their resources towards bot lane play, though. Very similar to what we saw in game 1. Taliyah is just a very effective roaming champion, and being able to get that push against the Azir and then look to attack that bot side of the map with the setup that they have from Rell is something we'll have to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, I'm curious how these team fights actually go, though, because, like, Fresskowy has a ton of ways of separating fights, same when you look at the Rumble ult as well. And I think when you're looking at G2, there's a huge amount of burden of execution on Mikyx and BB setting up for the big team fight engage together. And if you can play that disruption, I think Mad Lions Koi have an opportunity to kind of deal with Kennen as he comes in, especially with the exhaust that Alvaro is taking. You exhaust Kennen, deal with Kennen. You already have that separated fight because Fresskowy's playing on a wing, and maybe you can take the fights that way. So I think there's going to be a lot of cool opportunities to keep our eyes on flanking opportunities on both sides and see how those fights are going to be split up.
A lot to keep track of, but here we are, game 3. 1 win apiece for both Mad Lions Koi and G2 Esports. The best of 3 left in front of us. Who could be the first to find those 2 wins?
Let's watch MDK's level 1 here. Moving into the fog of war. Fresskowy was spotted out by Yike. And Elyoya moving primarily to get information as to where Yike is starting. Love the fact that we're seeing both Yike and Elyoya on these carry junglers. 2 junglers that have risen to prominence over the last few years in Europe. You see a very deep invade coming out from Alvaro. Bel'Veth has made her way into the jungle. They're seeing if they can maybe find a collapse onto Broken Blade, but he realizes that he is in danger. He's already moved up to the lane, started with his E. Myrwn not going to find anything. So no level 1 play found by MDK. Just a bit of vision invested and information gained. A ward dropped by Yike on the on his own red, to see if that is being stolen away by Elyoya.
Of course, a lot of tension here in these first few levels. Both games have essentially been snowballed from very early points. Both teams finding very dominant wins thus far. We'll see if this game's a little bit more even Varus has been the laning terror that has defined both games. This time G2 were given it freely. Mad Lions Koi, a lot of faith in Supa on this Senna. Bring them more advantages here in game 3. The biggest difference, I think, for me, though, is Elyoya in the jungle on a much more impactful early game pick. Can look to support bot lane.
Sjokz said it on the desk, 100% win rate for Supa prior to the previous game in playoffs on this champion. So MDK do have a huge amount of faith in him and the champion. We'll see if things pan out differently this time around. Fresskowy already with the level 2. The Cap's going to quickly match.
This also, for Mad Lions Koi, kind of seems to be the fallback plan for when they're pushed against the wall. Like we saw yesterday, game 5, it was, hey, we're going to bring out the brand for Elyoya. We want Elyoya to be the carry and try and use these advantages for himself versus what we've seen so far, which is like on Zax or Iverns or these sorts of things where he's kind of playing to set up the team. So I'm curious now if this is going to be the moment where Elyoya can try and come alive here and find his moment to get in on Yike. Like, you have push in mid, but that's kind of your only opportunity. So for Elyoya, it is going to be a bit tough to invade, because that's oftentimes what Bel'Veth wants to do, is invade, get those leads, and start to take over the game in that way.
And this is part of the reason I think it's such a boon for Mad Lions Koi to have a player like Elyoya on their lineup. Because even though he had a really rough series against Fnatic, he himself said just kind of outclassed by Razork. The fact that when they are against the wall, they still have the faith in him to play these kind of hyper carry style picks in the jungle is massive. You want that veteran that you can rely on in the clutch to just be your consistent performer. And right now it feels like that has to be Elyoya. That said, early laning phase already much quieter on the bottom side of the map. Some early trading, yes, and Supa and Alvaro are doing pretty well for themselves. Honestly, we saw both lane phases end in the first 3 levels in terms of early advantages, so already going much more smoothly for the side of MDK in this game 3.
Yike sees a gank angle.
Crowd comes out, flash hook. Supa now trying to follow up. Yike not quite going to connect on the stun. Alvaro now running. Curse of the Black Mist, keeping him shrouded for just a moment there, and G2 not going to find much of anything other than some summoners.
Good job by Supa and Alvaro to try and avoid that. I did misspeak. They should have pushed on bot side because Rell very good into the Nautilus, and just being able to abuse that fact they can buy space there. But Yike trying to get in and disrupt that, so then he can make sure that, okay, Hans and Mikyx can keep control here, so then at least Elyoya can't have as much control. But the fact that Supa and Alvaro are able to escape away from that is a big win for them.
Definitely is. Riptide not going to connect on Alvaro there. You can see just sweeping out, trying to catch a little bit of vision.
Elyoya already there on the respawn of the Raptors.
I mean, so is Yike. They're perfectly mirrored in their path.
They really are.
But Elyoya's just a little bit ahead on his trip to mid lane.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, but look at the collapse from Alvaro as well, recognizing that Yike was making this play.
Dash in, flash out from Yike, quick.
Tries to sidestep the stun from Alvaro, but he doesn't throw it out. Nice small advantage gained by MDK. Good use of that early ward to spot what he was up to. And again, we mentioned it earlier, really excited to see both these players. Oh, Caps.
Nice flip back.
He's getting very low.
Follow-up damage from Fresskowy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the third volley. Mostly going to hit the minions there. Caps has to play very safe.
We've been casting Caps for many years now. He's a man that loves to hold his flash until the very edge. And it's caught many mid laners off guard. They sit there and like they overstay. Maybe they think, oh, you know, I can actually get him. He's within kill range. And then sometimes he's been able to punish them as a result of that. But Fresskowy showing that respect, knows he's going to force him back. Just going to go get a nice base for himself and then TP back into mid wave. But a slower early game compared to what we've been seeing so far in this series.
I do think, though, we're going to see Elyoya start to transition a lot of the advantages he's gained into the Void Grubs in a moment. If you look at the experience, you can see Elyoya is a camp ahead because his Krug spawn on the bottom side. So he's going to reset. You have to pick up his Wolves, pick up Krugs, hit level 5, and have that level advantage over Yike, who I think will need 2 more camps before he can actually hit that level. So Fresskowy already you can see up here. But I'd like to see Elyoya try and finish off one of his camps before he goes to this, because you're just so close at level 5. It makes it very difficult for Yike to contest you if you go for that play.
We'll move over to the Gromp as Mikyx returns to the bottom side of the map. Reset from Supa is there. You can see Alvaro will not head straight back to lane instead, potentially fishing for a play in the mid lane. Both mid laners reset. I definitely like the Lost Chapter purchase for Fresskowy a bit more. Obviously, whenever you're running Nashers first, the purchases are a bit cheaper, but a bit more awkward sometimes in terms of their impact in lane.
Alvaro just helping get the push out in mid means that Fresskowy can be in a position to assist Elyoya in securing these grubs. This forces Broken play to play on the defensive as well, knowing that his jungler's on the bot side of the map bit. The vision was already set up by G2. 2 control wards invested in the bot river. Gains that information, makes the cross map a reality. This Void Grub's a really nice pickup for the Bel'Veth in particular. Plate secured in bot lane, but overall, we continue to see a relatively slow passive early game between these two teams.
And you can start to feel the tension build, right? Game 1 and Game 2 both felt like haymakers for each respective side. Now, much closer, much more controlled. Neither side getting overly aggressive. Neither side going to make the same fumbles in the laning phase that they did in either of the previous 2 games.
But again, I think a huge amount of this game is going to be about junglers, and Yike, now moving down to the spot side, wants to see if he can make a play onto the spot side. I think it's a little bit dangerous to dive, but Elyoya, he's on that top end, and he's the one that's actually stole away. He's going to be able to steal away the red buff as it respawns here as well. So Yike not getting his foot clear on this bottom side because he went straight for Dragon now. Won't be able to go for the invade onto the red, and I think this is where Elyoya is going to slowly start to creep ahead when it comes to the jungle. You can already see level 6 versus level 5.
Supa and Alvaro respected that Yike could be on the bot side of the map. The ping came out from Elyoya to indicate, hey, he could be on my red buff right now, just be cautious of that. And as you'll notice, Alvaro moving back into his side of the jungle. He's going to go see what information he can garner. He'll spot the red buff still up.
Caps flip back there. Elyoya immediately going to follow. First blood for Mad Lions Koi. Senna, although the fact that Senna gets that kill is massive as well.
Cap's a player that often plays on the edge. Sometimes you slip. And that was a really nice knockoff by Fresskowy. A great team play setup, actually hands the kill over to Supa, and MDK draw first blood.
And it's just a nice transitional gank from Elyoya. He knew that Yike had to go back, clear his 2 camps were in his jungle and go for the reset. And now Fresskowy was hovering up towards his top side, but he only wanted to get down to his bot side to protect his own camps because Hansam and Mikyx had gone for a reset. Maybe you can try and invade as Yike, but now Yike realizes he has nothing but his Krugs in his top side, and Elyoya is going to start to very quickly keep this lead going. So if these 2 junglers meet, this is where MDK have their lead.
Fresskowy, of course, has the semi-global pressure of the Weaver's Wall. So the potential for playmaking as he gets more wave clear, as he can get ahead of Caps in that eternal wave clear battle, is just going to continue to mount in the favor of Mad Lions Koi. Yes, Myrwn is losing out on top lane pressure, but that Rumble Wall can still be incredibly impactful in the fights to come. Another flip back connecting. Alvaro ready to follow up. Caps waiting. Did he burn the dash? It looks like he did. Now finally going to use it out to safety. Exhaust ticking. Supa desperate to get the final kill here. Yike stepping forward. Hoping to just disrupt a little bit. Caps will walk away, but he's already lost so much life, he can't afford to stay.
And this is a great read coming through from MDK. Caps could have pushed and moved in towards top side with Yike, but because MDK collapsed on mid, they push Caps back. Elyoya get its full top side, and now Broken Blade is overextended.
Broken Blade overextending. Flash forward from Myrwn has just overheated himself. Broken Blade should be able to walk away to safety. G2 holding on. Caps sticking around despite the blinking health bar.
This gives an opportunity for Hansama to push in the bot wave. MDK are able to get a plate in mid, but honestly, I think they overcommitted their resources. It's a huge wave that someone needs to catch. Yike in a bit of danger.
Flash forward, knock up is big from Elyoya. Can't quite finish the kill.
Another exchange of flashes. MDK putting a lot of pressure down, though. Flashes being used across the board. I'm impressed that Cap still hasn't been forced to flash, but in the midst of all of that, Broken Blade committed his ultimate into a top lane skirmish, forcing a lot of pressure down onto Myrwn, and ultimately ends up just being a flash for flash.
Hasn't been forced to flash, but did die with flash available.
Yes,
so has
true.
just chosen not to flash and chose
Correct.
death instead. Just to be clear here.
G2 though, rotating Hansam and Mikyx up towards his top side. They want to try and contest for this next set of grubs. I'm curious to see if MDK read this though. You can see Supa starting to reset. I think he should go top here. And Alvaro kind of hovering in that mid wave, waiting to see where Hansam and Mikyx will be spotted, because at the moment Elyoya has that level advantage. They want to try and push that forward to use that on towards the Void Grubs. And now with them spotting us, curious, Supa and Alvaro are going to go contest mid wave instead, so they can lean in through mid rather than contesting the push on top side.
Supa approaching. Fresskowy just going to clear the wave as best he can. What is the actual angle here for Mad Lions Koi? They're committing a lot of resources to the top side of the map. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Broken Blade pushing in. Someone will eventually have to catch that wave. Pressure on the top side of the map would normally favor G2, but Mad Lions Koi willing to commit a ton of resources just to ensure that the grubs will go down in their favor. G2 don't have a man advantage here. Broken Blade on the bottom side has to recoup some of this advantage. They're willing to concede that gold. Now they've caught out Yike. Threaded volley coming in. Yike can't just ult to safety. He is unstoppable. But the root still connecting, and the follow-up is there! Supa, the Spanish sniper, just finding it point blank with the ulti.
MDK are just playing significantly better around Elyoya, and they managed to move their members up, push through mid, they pick off Yike, and this is, I mean, look at the gap that's in the jungle. It's nearly 600 gold. This is absolutely absurd, and now the problems start to come through where Yike just won't be anywhere near strong enough to try and move in towards these fights. You got 2 kills on towards Supa, who's going to be an absolute menace. And you've got control now where you can go for the reset, finish off your Kraken Slayer, and come back out as Dragon's going to be on the map, although Elyoya going towards his camps may actually give time to G2 to maybe pick Myrwn and also look for a Dragon themselves.
Mikyx on the way down. Yike on the way down. Broken Blade ulti in the bush, ready to go. Should just proc it immediately here to find the stun onto Myrwn. Myrwn can try to throw down the equalizer, but should not be enough. Just trying to buy a bit more time here, get a bit more damage down. TP is available if the team wants to commit, but Myrwn's just buying as much time as he can, dashing around. But now Hansama's going to be able to walk up and pick up this kill, just get donated this one, so...
So a bit messy from G2. They had to commit 4 members. Ultimately, they do get a kill. They should unlock the dragon for them as well. But on the top side of the map, Supa's going to be able to grab himself a bunch of plates, and the entire top side jungle is available for Elyoya to pick apart. The red is about to respawn as well. So Mad Lions Koi not going to be too upset about the loss of their top laner, even if it does mean more gold over the Hansama. Supa having a much healthier early game compared to what we saw in game 2.
Also having the 5 grub buff is big, just for shredding these towers, because again, Senna's threat onto towers is not normally significant. However, that extra damage over time is definitely paying off for the side of Mad Lions Koi. In the previous game, Mad Lions Koi were behind on every single rotation, as the resets from G2 were just better, but this time around, Mad Lions Koi playing it so much better equipped as well to respond to G2.
I think a huge amount of that is going to be trying to get back control here against Elyoya as he's moving around the map again. You're going to be looking towards Rift Tower coming up in just over a minute's time, and that's going to be the next big port of call, because if you can get that for Bel'Veth, obviously massive for her. And just trying to keep control of this top side with the amount of vision that they have. Looking at Caps, but I don't think he'd be able to get the flick back here. Alvaro is waiting in the wings. Maybe it's actually just to rotate everyone top, and BB doesn't have his flash up and available. This could be a great timing attack.
Mikyx caught out here, sidestep is clean. Hook onto the minion, not ideal. 2-man knockup. Aftershock procs, flashing out to safety. Exhaust still ticking. Broken Blade. How much are they willing to give to keep Mikyx alive? The answer is not a lot. Kill going down. Elyoya instantly going to transform. True form now unleashed. And priority access to the Herald in 27 seconds as well.
I mean, Dagda's done a great job of breaking it down, but MDK have just dominated this early game largely thanks to some great pathing. Supa, as he overstayed.
Nice cancel on the base. Supa desperate to try and get a kill back. Broken Blade is still standing. Yike now on the chase. Conqueror fully procced here. Ulti coming out. Flash out from Supa. Not enough. Big shutdown for the side of G2.
Small misstep from Supa there, thinking that he could get a kill back onto Broken Blade. He comes very close to getting it, but he does not expect Yike to be in the area. Fresskowy now on a ward.
Fresskowy, ulti over the wall is big. Mikyx is there as well. But the Taliyah still living. Damage not quite there. Hansama, how much left on the piercing arrow? Mikyx now the one who's been caught out. And Elyoya's instantly there to follow up. Mad Lions Koi ahead in the play.
And there's nothing that they can do to try and answer for this. I think BB has to try and reset, but there's no word for him to really TP into. So what almost was G2 finding the pick on Supa and turning that into more onto Fresskowy actually turns back to Mad Lions Koi getting control over the Rift Herald, which they wanted from the get-go.
Credit to MDK. A slow and steady early game, but their advantages are continuing to grow. They have the Herald now to unlock that mid tower against an Azir. That's incredibly valuable. Yike trying to steal back a red buff for himself. I believe he didn't have the smite available, and now Mikyx could be in danger again.
Root there, Elyoya ready to follow up. Knockup is there, and Mikyx's just gonna go down. And this is not the Senna we saw in the first 2 games. Supa scaling up cleanly, 47 souls already. Looking like a powerhouse, essentially even in itemization with the Varus, and you can see just leveraging that range so incredibly well.
The amount of Void Remora that are here is absolutely absurd because of the second charge as well. This tower gonna fall.
No.
Oh, TP behind though.
Caps looking for the flank, desperate to get something back, looking for the push back onto Supa. Will catch him out. Hansama now trying to follow up, but the Weaver's Wall stops the follow-up coming in from the rest of G2. Hex Flash in from Mikyx, but it might be too little too late. Knockup is there. Yike has to try and turn it back. Broken Blade! Can he be the difference maker? Reset coming in for Yike. He's now taking away Fresskowy's body. Alvaro gonna get taken down as well. Resets coming in left and right. Hansama now looking to follow up. Blood in the water. G2 hunting for more. Broken Blade desperate to get the stun. Only one stack will be forced back. G2 lose their tower, but get some kills in the exchange.
Fresskowy with an incredible wall to shut down the flank from Caps. Unfortunately ends in disaster as Broken Blade finds his way into the fight and gets a huge ultimate to turn it into G2's favor. Keep your eyes on this TP flank from Caps. It could have been a great setup, but Fresskowy, that wall was incredible. The problem then becomes Broken Blade. You look at the left side of your screen, Myrwn is trying to keep him away. As Mikyx goes in, that ultimate stuns up so many people. Yike gets that initial reset, and immediately MDK is forced to retreat.
And as you say, I think the wall gave them false confidence. It was so good, but it meant that they overextended then after they got the kill and thought maybe we can make this play happen, but Supa had already burnt his flash. He had no way to try and get out of that, and he ends up falling in the exchange. And now with 45 seconds until Dragon, MDK control the area, but G2, they have members all over the place and come from multiple angles.
MDK learning firsthand that they're going to have to get more respect over to the side of that Kennen. Myrwn can mark Kennen, but he can't stop him from getting into the fight. He is not enough of a threat. He does not have the CC.
Exhaust is up for him now, though. That's the big one. Alvaro has that exhaust, and that's going to be key. You need Alvaro to match wherever Broken Blade is, and also having that Locket of the Iron Solari will help out big time when it comes into these fights. So MDK posted up, good vision control, not really letting anyone from G2 in here.
Lose. Nice sidestep there, but it's not going to stop MDK from taking the tier 2 tower. Mad Lions Koi, steady, controlled, continuing to extend their gold lead.
Caps is hovering here, though. I think he's on a ward and he doesn't really realize it. G2 trying to see if they can get into position now. Caps definitely going to be spotted. But what can G2 try and find here?
Wards does G2 really have for him to TP down? I meant for Broken Blade.
Yeah.
He does not really have a lot of options. He's pushing in top tower. Here comes the TP. It's not the best flank. Alvaro spots it out.
On the control ward as well. Easy to
Vicky
see.
now on the flank.
Broken Blade.
Doesn't have the
setup for the
flash,
5v5 is real. Currently, we're just set up for the 50-50. Broken Blade off to the side. Flick back, not quite going to connect. Crucially, G2 now stepping forward. Weaver's Wall comes in, but the Dragon already down. Elyoya manages to grab that one. Alvaro now running, but Broken Blade losing out in the individual 1v1. Myrwn trying to make the hero moment. Stops the flank from coming through, but MDK need to get the hell out. They've already got what they came for. Caps now fishing for the push. He's going to get it right onto Fresskowy, and the rest of the team now unleashed. Elyoya, maybe he has the damage. The retreat now coming through. Supa needs to run. They need to get the hell out, but Yike is chasing through. Ulti reset is there if he wants it. He's taking his time. He turns right back around and finds the double.
G2 find the fight that they need. Mad Lions Koi, they all turn on to Broken Blade, which gives the rest of G2 the room they need in River to push up, to sandwich them, and find the engage that they want with Caps. Just a cherry on top with that shuffle.
You keep your eyes on Broken Blade as he's trying to find this flank, but MDK are doing a good job of shutting it down. Drakos is highlighted in the play-by-play. Broken Blade just couldn't get an angle. This wall looks good initially as Broken Blade is losing his life. He's forced to use his ultimate, but then G2 turn their attention. Myrwn, who is isolated, loses his life. Then the resets come through for Yike, and Caps finds an angle onto the back line. Gets a two-man ulti off, and then it becomes a matter of cleanup for G2. MDK do get the Dragon. Unfortunately, the cost might not have been worth it.
Certainly not. And again, I feel like Mad Lions Koi getting these leads, but then learning firsthand some of the strengths of G2's composition. They finally respected the Kennen, but then they underestimated what a Viego can do. The resets coming through, allowing G2 to take over that fight. Certainly Caps as well. Mad Lions Koi just need to be a bit cleaner in the execution. The first wall in the previous exchange in mid, close to perfect. This one a bit lackluster. Need more from these picks because Caps is just getting stronger and stronger. 66 gold ahead. It doesn't matter too much, but we know what Azir can do in the late game fights.
It's the fact that Yike has been pulled back into this game, though. You're slipping 600, 700, 800 gold behind, but now with 4 kills, this Viego is a beast and definitely a force to be reckoned with. And now especially if Broken Blade can get in, like all he has to do is get members low for Yike to finish off. This combo for G2 is so incredibly strong, but I think that's why Mad Lions Koi have to, if they can zone BB out, jump on the rest of the team. BB's out of the equation, that's fantastic. You just want to keep him away, and as long as you can get on towards Caps and Hansam, and no one's really tanky, and that's where you can burst them out.
You know, you were talking about Yike and how he's back into the game. Big fan of this Viego build of the Kraken Slayer into Titanic Hydra into then just more HP. You can either go for the Black Cleaver or you can go for something like the Sterax. But initially it's very squishy, but it's a lot of damage. You know, you can have your auto attack into Q, into Titanic, into like it's a lot of burst damage that can catch a lot of people off guard. Gives him a lot of dueling prowess as well. And if he does run into that Bel'Veth, I'm curious as to who actually has the advantage in the 1v1. Speaking of, Elyoya may have caught Caps out.
Caps are using the shifting sand, no dash available. Elyoya. Empowered blast cone to follow up. Caps now in trouble. Push back under the tower. Caps trying to dash his way out to safety. Elyoya flash back in. Wants to keep the train rolling. Reset ulti now coming in, but Yike is there for the follow-up. Elyoya may have just given his life, but Myrwn on the way to cover. G2 should just back away here.
Nice play from Elyoya, utilizing the environment blast clone to get in front of Caps, even though Caps still doesn't flash, by the way. I guess he didn't get an opportunity that time round as Elyoya flashes back over the wall and shuts him down. Closes that kill gap ever so slightly, but the gold continues to remain dead even.
And I think this is a huge opportunity for Mad Lions Koi to show us more of what they've got in the mid game. G2, the mid game terrors, yes, most certainly, but if Mad Lions Koi can navigate this, it builds so much faith in them as we continue further into this series. This is not match point. There will be more games to follow, and if they can outclass G2 in mid game, might even start to look like series favorites.
This is where I think you've got the opportunity for G2 to get vision control on top side. You'll trade tower for tower. So yes, the kill goes across in favor of Mad Lions Koi, but there's going to be an even trade on map states with the cross map coming through for G2. So this is where you kind of got to go, okay, everyone in G2 top side, right, we are making a decision. Are we playing for Dragon or are we playing for Baron? With where Alvaro is positioned, it looks like they're going to try and set up for vision on the Baron, or at least make sure G2 can't go for the counter punch towards Baron. And Elyoya, no words in his back pocket, but can at least start clearing out that vision to make sure that as MDK move down, they can get vision control on the spot side for the Dragon in 35 seconds.
Vision placed in the mid lane, potentially a future flanking ward if MDK can find the angle. G2 trying to retake some control over the map. Fighting for mid prio here. Veil procced on Supa. We'll have to just back away there, Edge of Night. Both sides can shred a Baron if left unattended. So have to be careful. Group up in the mid lane onto Alvaro. Ulti now going down. Elyoya fishing for a little bit of follow-up. Instant burst damage going in favor of G2, but there's the follow-up coming from Broxah, but not working whatsoever. MDK happy to punish. Equalizer raining down from this guy. Yike getting the reset. That's a shutdown. Mikyx now running out to safety. Another kill coming through. Elyoya can start to farm these resets. Myrwn overheating, but Hansama, can he handle him in the 1v1? Flashing out to safety. Arrow going down, taking Supa out. It's all on Yike. Yike has to be enough. He finds one reset. He finds another. Caps off to the side. Elyoya needs to get the kill on the Caps. Caps flashing out to safety. Yike still has the reset up and available. 1v1, Yike versus Elyoya. Yike desperate, and he will get the kill. He will get the shutdown.
The smite comes through, and it's Yike who gets revenge against Elyoya. And now on the hunt, Fresskowy has nowhere to go.
Multi reset is there, goes in, gets stunned up. Fresskowy just trying to sidestep. Yike now chasing Fresskowy versus Yike. Empowered blast code, his mid laner just experienced this a moment ago, but Fresskowy this time rock surfing his way to safety. Yike still on the chase, flick back there, good bit of extra damage, but now the TP coming in and the extended play. G2 are looking to take everything. Moving in onto Fresskowy, should just be a quick kill here, quick kill pickup. Massive death timer now, 42 seconds. G2, what can they get done with it?
What a crazy fight in the mid lane. Broken Blade's ultimate not doing the damage that G2 needed it to do. Elyoya and Myrwn were just tearing apart the backline, but it was Yike with his resets that really saved the fight for G2. They will secure their third Dragon of the game, but there's a window for Baron here for MDK.
Main source of damage is going to be Elyoya. They need to wait for him to get there. MDK going to start it up. Myrwn is going to do a lot of work here. No TP on Kennen, and Kennen and Mikyx have just gone back to base. G2 don't realize Cap's going to try and get a ward down here.
They just spotted it out with the blast cone, with the Scourge Bloom, excuse me. Know that this is coming. TP now used. Man advantage for the side of MDK. Are they willing to risk the 50-50? Yike ultimate up and available. Can't go over the wall if they need to. 3K getting lower. That Varus piercing arrow getting charged up. They know they can't go as long as he's charging it off to the side. Alvaro just trying to make space. Baron going down in favor of MDK. Well played from the Mad Lions Koi support. But G2 are now going to fish for the fight. Caps sliding, gliding, finding Supa. Broken Blade off to the side. Looking to eliminate Elyoya in the 1v1. Mad Lions Koi quick on the retreat. It is Baron for 2 kills in favor of G2.
And G2 managed to get there just after Baron goes down. 2 kills. It's more of a case of how much can G2 get off the back of this as well. They should be able to get the mid lane tower. BB pushing in that top side. 30-second death timers means it will more than likely just be the mid lane tower. But it's an answer back for G2.
A fantastic decision by MDK. The G2 have to scramble back to try and punish. While they are able to get 2 kills, the fact that this Baron is taken off the board means that G2 is very limited in what they can actually get. They steal a few camps, but MDK with the Baron firmly plant themselves in this game 3.
And again, it's the fact that Supa ended up getting caught there by Mikyx as he comes through. Supa goes down. Great positioning by BB to immediately turn on to Elyoya. 2 big threats eliminated from the fight. And this is the thing with Mad Lions Koi's draft. It is very, very squishy. So if these fights end up very separated, it's going to be so tough. And Caps, beautiful stuff to get Supa there, coming in from the top side and then falls back to deal with the other threat of the Bel'Veth.
I mean, it was simply a matter of get as many Barons as we can in that final fight. G2 were able to get back out onto the map, but Yike now has an opportunity to spend his gold. He's picked up his 3rd item. But MDK, they don't care. They know they have the Baron buff. They know the gold is dead even. And they will begin their siege. They're pushing in mid with Myrwn. They're taking away G2's jungle as well. They're trying to set up a siege. Alvaro, could he be in danger?
TP ward there. Supa gonna lose the Edge of Night. Only a minute and 10 seconds left on the Baron buff. You can see thus far it's essentially dead even. The 1,500 gold from the Red Bull Baron power play entirely mitigated by G2's follow-up push and team fight. Myrwn wants to get more here, but the waves aren't really synced. As a result, we'll just have to settle for poking away at this wave from a distance. Hansama not on the bottom side of the map. Potential an opportunity for MDK to try and punish Fresskowy. Ready to set up the Weaver's Wall.
16's very close for Broken Blade and Myrwn. Getting all 3 points in your ultimate. It's a lot of extra damage coming into these team fights.
Root out, onto Alvaro. Weaver's Wall now coming in, but there's no immediate follow-up. G2 grouped as 5. They're just a ball of death. And Mad Lions Koi do not have the firepower to fight back. Caps committing the ulti. Will not connect on Elyoya. G2 now on the hunt because Yike, here he comes, taking the form of Alvaro and turning it back as Supa is picked off. Now the Senna stolen away, can start to heal up the backline. Broken Blade chasing forward, fishing for the stun, desperate to get it on the Fresskowy, but there is the TP. Here comes Caps. He might not have flash, but he is ready to go. Committing onto Myrwn. G2 find the opportunity, find the fight. Myrwn now running, but Yike will not be denied. He wants more, and Caps will take the shutdown.
The Weaver's Wall was not a friend. It kept Myrwn out of the fight, and it meant that G2 could take a 4 versus 5 and immediately find that advantage versus Mad Lions Koi. And once again, G2 finding these small advantages. You'll see as we come into this. Watch the wall from Fresskowy. Myrwn gets stuck and can't come into the fight, so it ends up as a 4 versus 5, and from that point forward, Mad Lions Koi are running from the hills as G2 are able to take the fight in the front to back.
Myrwn, that ultimate being unavailable was so much damage lost in such a narrow choke point. It could have been such a difference maker, but G2, they didn't care. They used Alvaro against his own team. And I mean, it's just a bunch of junglers that Yike has played before. Rell into Taliyah. This is his playground. And he is having fun with Mad Lions Koi right now. 8-1-10, the scoreline for Yike.
Heroic performance from Yike, no doubt. Berlin continues to come alive. Also, shout out to the Blast Cone that will eventually respond by that blue buff. It has been involved in essentially every major play in this game. Caps waiting to the side. Looking for the shuffle, looking for the drift. Instant flash out. Caps, can they get the punish back? Knockup is there. Caps going golden. Flick back should be clean. Coming in from Fresskowy, but the flash out of safety means it didn't quite connect. Myrwn out to the side, trying to keep Broken Blade out, but he's just giving his own life. And in the meantime, here comes Yike. 8-1-10, looking to get a little bit more done. Elyoya, nice sidestep. Flip back is big onto Hansama, but Elyoya just doesn't have the follow-up. The Viego just continues to take over the game.
It's a double kill for Caps. Fresskowy, he's gonna have to use the ultimate to get out. Will it be interrupted? Oh, Mikyx commits the flash, but it's not quite enough. Fresskowy back in time to defend. The Dragon Soul is on the cards for G2. And it's been a very close back and forth fight that could have been determined by a single different play. But it is G2 that is coming out on top, and it's Yike that finds himself at the top of the scoreboard.
And so much of this game was neck and neck, but when you look at the kill score now, understand that the last 3 fights have gone so heavily in the favor of G2. Yes, Mad Lions Koi got that Baron, but they're going to need more Barons if they want to come back in this one.
And you can see it looks so close for Mad Lions Koi so often, but Cap's been able to flash away from this. He went golden to stop the flick back, and then that's all the damage from the Taliyah. BB is able to get onto Myrwn to take him out of the fight, and Yike is doing so much work in keeping Mad Lions Koi on the back foot in the rest of the 3 people that he can't stop to turn around on deal any damage. And now with the soul as well, that only becomes more difficult to take down G2.
I mean, I will say that, like, what is the threat onto Hansama in these fights? He's only gotten a single death in the whole game. He's just sitting on the back line, throwing out that ultimate, throwing out that empowered Q. And the problem is, for MDK, you've talked so much about it, Dagda, the second that Alvaro disappears, the front line disappears as well, and it just becomes reset central for Yike.
And a huge amount of it has to be separating the fights, and they just can't do it because G2 are coming in from every which way.
TP topside, Broken Blade here to back up, make sure that no one gets picked off. Shepherd them in, hook onto Alvaro, solid start, Broken Blade going in and instantly finding everybody he needs to. Fresskowy getting cut down, that's one reset coming in, and now it's the opportunity for Yike to take over. Viego playground coming through once again. G2 more than enough damage to finish the kills. Myrwn now running G2. What are they gonna look for? Supa next. Looking to lock him down, stun comes in, there's just no getting away from Yike. Legendary now on the Viego.
And it feels like there's no getting away from G2. The early lead for Mad Lions Koi disintegrated. Baron will be next to fall as the towers in top will go as well. G2 have come alive in the mid game once more.
And there's a perfect world you can see for MDK where they lay down a Weaver's Wall, where they have the equalizer and the immobile backline of Hansama is caught off guard, but they have not found that fight once this game. And G2, now in this late game, effortlessly dissecting them.
This is Mad Lions Koi trying to find a collapse on top lane, but it just gives the perfect angle for Broken Blade. His ultimate connecting onto 4, and it feels like in so many of these fights, MDK is just immediately forced to retreat. There are so many huge AoE threats that they have to be cautious of. The Azir ultimate, the Varus ultimate, the Kennen ultimate, that they just constantly find themselves on the back foot. G2 with a convincing teamfight win. They have the Baron, they have the Salt. Now all they need to do is find that Nexus and bring us to game 4.
And it's tough for Mad Lions Koi because they had such a good start. They had gotten the ball rolling. They were looking for the fights. Their aggressive playstyle, trying to find picks, was starting to come together until G2 just found that outplay, found those moments to come alive. And now 4 rookies and Elyoya are going to have to find that opportunity to dig deep and see if they can find that miracle this game or find a way to turn it around coming into game number 4.
So hard. The Varus, so incredibly powerful at this point in the game. The poke is lethal. 2 minutes left on the Baron buff here. Soul already backing him up. 2 minutes till Elder Dragon spawns. G2 certainly have the runway to a victory here, and Caps looking to accelerate the pace. An excellent flick back is there, but Broken Blade mitigated for a brief moment. It doesn't matter, he's still in 3 with the ultimate, baby. It's a wombo combo. G2 marching into the base of Mad Lions Koi, looking to move up to match point.
You just can't give Caps Azir. This man has looked so good on it all split long, and now in finals he finds the shuffle once more to shut down Mad Lions Koi.
Flicks are coming out, skills are being used. G2 really need that minion to get closer to the tower to get rid of the backdoor bonus, but should just be able to end the game on the next wave. 11 seconds on Alvaro. Maybe G2 get overeager, maybe they overextend. Mad Lions Koi hoping, but it's just not gonna happen. Eyes on the prize, eyes on the kills. G2 wanting to finish in style. Match point, 2-1 to G2 Esports.
An impressive bounce back from G2. As we said, it was incredibly tense for the vast majority of this game. But as we got into the later game fights, G2 just found their window. Well played, but Mad Lions Koi, they're gonna have to bounce back as we jump to a quick break.
Hey, Law.
Yeah?
I need a bit of help with styling since I'm new here, and I was wondering if I could show you a couple of outfits.
Yeah, sure.
Amazing, thank you so much. I'll be right back. I'm a porro snack. Get it?
I don't know, man. No, not really.
I don't know, Law. It's hopeless.
No, it's gonna be fine. Here, let's have a break.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Yes, that's the one. Perfect.
Yeah? LEC, here we come.
Ahoo!
Red Bull gives you wings.